Hey guys, I'm Chris,
And I'm Mike.
and welcome back to this week's No Limits, the Thriller Podcast. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm great. Something special for the people. An end of the year 2025 in review, talking about all the books we read this year. Can't wait to do it with you, Chris.
I know it's hard to imagine that 2025 coming to a close. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. We haven't potted in a minute. I hope you guys, whenever this is coming out, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. And yeah, I always look forward to these episodes because one, we can kind of recollect about what we actually accomplished, 'cause sometimes it's hard to oh, wow, we actually did a lot, when you're in the grind, you're like, oh, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing a lot, but then when you actually look back on it, it's like, whoa, we read a lot of books.
Yeah, I mean, looking back is fun. We are in the doldrums, so you guys probably noticed. Missed a few weeks there, or some scheduling mishaps, just busy with Thanksgiving, like you said. So maybe haven't had a couple episodes the last few weeks, but we want to give you some banter to take into the holidays, enjoy over your break, and some good old book talk. Looking back on the 30 books, trying to count these up here.
Yeah, 30 books.
30, is it 30 even books that we covered and read this year on the pod. So, 30 episodes. We had 30 episodes. A lot of that was Dark Wolf. So 22 books.
Okay.
30 episodes because we had the whole Dark Wolf TV series. So we get to talk a little bit about that. But you know where the book talk never stops? That's the Thriller Pod Book Club. We have a fantastic group of patrons. They're the ones who make this podcast possible. So if you want to help support the podcast, be the reason we can make more podcasts and constantly talk books with us in the group chat, head on over to thrillerpod.com, click the Patreon tab, and we'd love to have you over there. So this kind of chat tonight is ongoing in the group chat with the Thriller Pod Book Club year round.
Yeah, and we may have trailed off a little bit towards the end of 2025, just a couple of weeks, but we are going to come at you hard in 2026. We already started scheduling. This is not going to be our last pod of. Well, I don't know when you're going to post this, but we are still going to be covering 2 more books this year, as well as we've elusive Tyler Brewer. We want to get his take on Cry Havoc, so that episode will be dropping as soon as we are able to record it. Unfortunately, it was so funny tonight. We were supposed to record that when you said, "Hey, can you do 8:30?" I was just jokingly going to text. Sorry, I can't do it. I'm in
canceling the 4th time.
I'm in the ER, and then just jokingly, and then unfortunately, we hope that everything is okay with Tyler and his family. But literally, the 2 other times I had to record, I had something come up, and then last time we were in the urgent care with my daughter. It's 2 staples in the head, so. I don't know, but the universe does not want this Cry Havoc trifecta to happen, but it will. I'm almost for certain it will.
The universe may not want it because of all these cancellations, but the people want it. We got a couple of comments. I had a YouTube comment, another social media comment. People are like, how do you not bring on Tyler to talk about Cry Havoc, a new Jack Carr book? We're trying. We're trying
hard.
And it'll come.
Yeah.
And waiting this long, it will make it all the sweeter to bring him in and get his thoughts. But the books you referenced, we still want to cover between now and the new year. The Persian by David McCloskey, a 2025 release, came out, I think, a month or two ago. And most recently came out just this month in December, Dead Ringer by Chris Howdy.
Yes.
That'll be really interesting.
A JFK
assassination plot, a thriller. As far as I know, no Haley Chill. I think it's outside of that series. So something different for him, and he has such a unique writing style with his screenwriting background. You always love when you hear about a Chris Howdy book. So if we squeeze those in, it may kind of upset the apple cart with what we discussed today with our rankings and superlatives of the books we covered. But we'll address that when we record those podcasts if we think it does crack in any of those lists. Because ultimately, end of the pod, Chris, we've got to determine best book of 2025 that we read on the pod.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're doing this live. We're kind of winging it, and I think it's looking back on 2025. It's been an interesting year. I feel like Teddy's grown a lot.
Sure.
Like my 4 kids have grown a lot.
Mark, patron Mark, shout out to him with his second.
Yeah, Exactly.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of new additions to the No Limits podcast family. We had our very own Recoil of Justice. We got to talk about a patron's book
Right.
with him. We did a book club on it. That was great.
And we hope to have another one, whether it's 2026 or beyond. We know a couple of other works from the Patron Book Club are coming out, and really looking forward to hearing that one. Oh, and speaking of a meetup, I got to meet Chris and Sherry.
Yeah.
What an absolute joy that they were in town. And we have another meetup planned for 2026. And then the big one, BoucherCon 2027 in Washington, D.C. I think it's Labor Day weekend or just around early September. You betcha Thriller Pod will be going hard in that one because DC is in the hometown. We should get a booth, a table, a session. I'm going to reach out to the organizers, see what we can get going. Imagine a live pod from the event.
That'd be sick.
I'm sure there's a lot of costs involved in this, but we'll try to see what we can do.
Can we get like some press credentials or something, just so we could like walk around and talk to people?
Something on a panel maybe would be nice, but we got to figure out something. We got to go big, and we hope the patrons can make it into town. We'll obviously take care of them if they do make it over, but we've got some time to plan that. So that I think that's what we aim for as the big Thriller Pod Bash.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Tonight, though, what books did we cover? Should we just go through the list, lay them all out, the ones that we're going to be discussing and going through, and then maybe pick it apart, which ones really stand out to you and what you liked?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so just to go through the list, 14 different authors, 22 books we covered. Started off the year with Dark Vector, Ward Larson, good friend of the pod. Plum Island, something a little different, went into Nelson DeMille, my first Nelson DeMille book. To get ready for Denied Access later in the year, we replayed our American Assassin episodes and our Kill Shot episodes. So we reran our pods on those books. Vince Flynn, of course. The Seventh Floor, David McCloskey, good spy tale, good espionage tale. The Templar Legacy, Steve Berry, our first Steve Berry book covering on the pod. Steve Berry. Yep. Then we went on our little run. This was memorable to me. The Dark Intercept run, Andrews and Wilson. Week after week, we did Dark Intercept, Dark Angel, Dark Fall, and the latest release, Dark Rising. That was a lot of fun. I remember that kept us busy for a solid month.
I was a little skeptical going into that, and it really rewarded. It's a nice read,
dude. Completely, especially the first few in that series, just incredible.
I think Dark Angel might be my favorite.
Dark Angel was so good. Is that the one with St. Peter's on the cover?
Yeah.
The thing about those books was I read the first one years ago when it came out, and it's one of those series that immediately I was looking forward to each year. And Andrews and Wilson, this was like while they were peaking, because Sons of Valor was coming out while the Dark Falls books were coming out. So you're having a dark book, Sons of Valor book, dark book, Sons of Valor book. They were just hitting you with the 1-2 punch, and that was awesome. And look at the doors that opened for them. So I know I'm putting the cart before the horse, but they're getting into the Clancyverse. They have their own publishing house now. I don't know if you heard about this.
Oh, didn't know about that.
Yeah, they're supporting other authors. They're kind of promoting and pushing them, kind of like a media empire with these two. And they have a number of short stories. So 2026, no shortage of Andrews and Wilson. I think it's 4 short stories on the docket coming out, a tier 1 book. I haven't heard anything about Sons of Valor. I don't know if that's planned, but those guys are great. So that brought us into the summer. And then in the summer, it's always time for Brad Thor, Edge of Honor. That is going to be high up the list for me this year. That was a fun book. But the summer also continued with Fade In from Kyle Mills. We had him on the pod. You mentioned Brad Elder, Patreon, supporter of the pod. Recoil of Justice, his first book. A whole lot of fun. King of Ashes, we went back to S.A. Cosby, who always delivers. That man, you can call him the postman because he delivers. Sons of Valor 4, Andrews and Wilson. Alexandria Link, again, a Steve Berry. Deception Point, we really branched out again into a new genre, that's sci-fi stuff, and the Dan Brown. Dark Wolf did the whole TV show. That was a lot of fun. We had Tyler on TV. We had Jack Carr himself. What a time it was talking to him. Before Denied Access, we got a Mitch Rapp book this year. Thank goodness. They're keeping that going. Don Bentley keeping the series alive. Project Hail Mary, outside of our wheelhouse, but one heck of a great book. We're going to have to definitely talk about that on this pod. We rounded out with Secret of Secrets and Cry Havoc, Jack Carr. We had some thriller pod classics, all of our main authors, but I feel like we also diversified a little bit.
Yeah, and also not included on your list is we finished up the Brad Thor season 2 of No Limits this year.
You know what? I didn't even consider that. I was wondering, I was like, 22 episodes seems pretty low.
Yeah, no, I was like, wait, we're missing something right here.
The Scot Harvath pod. All right, how many were on the Scot Harvath pod in 2020? All right,
so we kicked off the year January with 2 episodes on Use of Force.
Okay.
Then we did 2 episodes on Spy Master.
Okay.
2 episodes on Backlash. I guess we just did a long episode on Near Dark, a long episode on Black Ice. We also covered The 12th Man, that sick movie.
Oh, dude, you're right.
Yeah. Then we revisited The Path of Assassin because we had not. Is it because we didn't give it a scorecard? Was that before we did the scorecard, or we did a different scorecard? Why did we revisit that one?
Maybe just as book 2. Was that book 2?
It was book 2.
It could have been that had a storyline that I think very much influenced something else. Well, we must have also revisited Lions of Lucerne, no?
Oh, yes. We also, it's not listed here, but we did revisit Lions of Lucerne. Oh, that's what it is. It's because we had started
we wanted to wrap up.
Yep. We hadn't quite fine-tuned our scorecard yet for the first 2 episodes of the Brad Thor podcast. And so we wanted to go back and redo both of those, revisit those. And then we finished it with our final rankings and superlatives. So,
yeah. Oh, okay. So that adds at least another, you probably just said
another
4 or 5 books.
It's another 12 episodes and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books.
Okay, so we got 40-something episodes, 30 books total. Those numbers sound more correct than before. Thank you, Chris. Totally forgot a big chunk of this.
It's not quite an episode a week. It's like an episode, like 3 episodes a month. We try to aim for it.
3 episodes a month, and I remember being very heavy on Scot Harvath to start the year.
Yes,
now
we just wanted to finish it, so
get it done. Yeah, and I gotta say, it was so perfect that we finished the series, got to Edge of Honor, because one of the categories I want to talk about tonight, I don't know if you saw this in the notes, these superlatives, best overall book, sure, but I want to go with most enjoyable, because I stand by when Brad Thor comes out. That is just. It's so smart to put it in the summer because it's such an easy read, but it's also, somewhat cerebral. You got to think about it. It's grounded in history. It's teaching you all these things while it's also just a really fun adventure. So I don't know. It might not be my favorite book that we read this year, but I still think it stands out as the most enjoyable read. I want to revisit it every summer. 4th of July.
Really?
I mean, it just sounds, it's that kind of book.
That's interesting. No, I'm looking back at our notes on that to see like let's see how we scored it. And we had a couple episodes talking about it. And you had Brad on.
Yep.
We talked spoilers. Why can't I find
For me, I'm gonna say it was probably 46.
Oh, we both gave it a 48.5.
48.5. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Maybe Prisoner of the Moment, but to be honest, another thing is I look at this list of books, and maybe you guys do this as well at home. I'm kind of thinking like, what's memorable from that book? What stands out? Was it a particular action scene, a villain? And in Edge of Honor, I can remember the Solvay side of the highway scene. I can remember the house where they were hiding out with that diplomat. They were at his house and they booby-trapped it and all the guys. I remember the boat scene with like some old colonel or some old Navy admiral or something. It had some real memorable moments and was a fun ride. Even the opening, my goodness, at the Norwegian embassy and the ambassador's residence, the whole bomb explosion outside the Naval Observatory. There's so much of that book that is like crystal clear in my mind. And some of the other ones I'm looking at didn't quite rise to that occasion.
No, I remember like when we talked about it, it was definitely high on our anticipation list. definitely has one of the highest scores of the year for sure.
Yeah.
To me, like, I don't know, maybe it's the fact that we kind of just sprung this episode on it, but I remember liking it a lot, but I can't remember a lot of facts about it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I remember those individual scenes, but I maybe don't remember the storyline that linked them together. So I think that's why it's not like best in the series or best book we read this year. Maybe some of that connective tissue of like the plot. I don't know what was really driving the plot thinking back to it, but I remember all those scenes sticking out. So it was definitely action heavy, I would say.
If we had a category for book that I want to most revisit out of everything, I think Edge of Honor would be my choice. Like,
I think so.
I want to go back. You know, Brad gives us like these wild rides, and it's just that one I remember being so enjoyable, but for some reason it's just escaping me right now. I don't know. All these other ones are I'm remembering more things about them for some reason.
Interesting. So what would you put on that list if we stick with the most enjoyable? Which one, when you were reading, it was just you were all in, just loving the moment? Probably a bunch, but
that's really tough. For some reason, the Templar Legacy to me, like diving into Steve Barry and getting that itch of, and that kind of like spurred the want to now go down the go to Deception Point, go to I've since reread the Da Vinci Code, like those kind of like you watch The National Treasure, like I for some reason I guess I'm pulled to those kind of stories, and I don't know, it was like the perfect mix of everything I wanted. Like you have the whole, he's like an operative per se, in the Department of Justice, like in this, you know,
Magellan Billet,
Magellan Billet, a lawyer, but also like an operative. Like it's a very interesting like concept. And then you tie in this whole like national treasure, treasure seeker, and then get pounded with a lot of history, get pounded with questions of like, all right, I'm going to give you like the historical facts, but at the end, there's going to be like a question of like, what do you believe? Like kind of like what some of the best documentaries do in terms of a lot of these ones that go back and like look at the Shroud of Turin or look at, these different historical artifacts, and they pose a question. They lay out all the facts of what they want to show you, and then leave it. They don't try to tell you like one way or the other, leave it up to you. And to me, like I was just on a wild ride with that book. Like for me, that one is sticking out to be one of the most enjoyable.
I'll agree with you. It's almost like you take the best parts of Brad Thor that sometimes you want him to lean into even more, and Steve Barry just goes hog on it. Or you take the best parts of a Dan Brown book and Steve Barry can pull that off. And his character kind of echoes a Robert Langdon with a Scot Harvath. You're kind of getting shades of all these guys in Cotton Malone, but he blazes his own path. And then not to mention his family drama, how his ex-wife is involved in this. And ultimately Gary, his son, that was book 2, I think, where he really comes into it. Stephanie Nell, right, his boss, who also becomes this very maternal figure, best friend figure to him. So I think there's just so much to love about a Steve Barry book. And if that was your first one, you were getting a taste of it, that must have been a great feeling, just to know what's to come and how many more of these stories you could take. Because I mean, what do you want to read about? You want to read about, he has one on Queen Victoria, one on MLK, one on the Mormons. He's got he just goes through all these waves of history, Venice and the Doges, like any period in history, I feel like he's tried and attempted to cover. And you could just go through the catalog and skip around and just enjoy the heck out of those books. So him and Dan Brown, I mean, I would also say when we decided to do Deception Point, we were both huge Dan Brown fans, but I know for me, it had been years, considering the last book, Origin, came out 8 years ago, and I actually don't even think I finished that one. So that means I honestly hadn't read a full Dan Brown book in over a decade. And I grew up with him, and I loved him my teenage years and my 20s. So it's like going back to that for me was just as fun as for you meeting and getting introduced to a Steve Barry book and Robert and Cotton Malone. So I think those are definitely memorable parts of the year. All of our Steve Berry and Dan Brown stuff. And I want to keep them going. 2 authors I want on our 2026 list.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah,
you know,
for
like
sure.
not necessarily. I don't want to cover everything, and maybe we can jump around. Like we can look at like the little list of what the topics are, but I definitely would love to sprinkle some of those in
For sure.
2026.
You know, another series that we could maybe go back to and revisit. We didn't do anything this year with Gray Man. We definitely want to keep going on that.
Yeah.
We haven't read another Nelson DeMille. We started off with Plum Island. Not exactly like a series. I know there's more John Corey books, but I feel like there's some other topics we could do as well.
Yep.
With him. And we didn't do the follow-up to The Kill Artist, Daniel Silva. So a couple of things just we didn't squeeze in and have time for, but that I don't want to totally ignore. So maybe all those names we try to work in.
That, and I'd love to, we still haven't covered any Lee Child on this pod with me and you. I've read a bunch of those, and apparently the series is, I haven't watched any of it, but apparently my father loves it. My father-in-law really likes it too. So
yeah, I haven't watched it either.
With the Reacher series,
we also have to think what TV shows we can maybe cover, because now that Dark Wolf's done, I don't think True Believers hitting screens in 2026. Potentially, it could be off on that, but I feel like I'm about to watch The Night Manager season 2. Did you watch season 1?
I did not, but I heard it was really good.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good that if season 2 is as good, I'd want to cover them both on the pod and maybe even read the book. It's a Le Carre book, so
yeah, I know it's a Le Carre book. So
yeah, dude,
that's
season 1 was
Tom Hiddleston's.
Tom Hiddleston.
Is he in season 2 too?
I believe so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. He is the night manager, right?
He is the night manager. Yeah, I'm not too up on it. I don't know much about the universe, but man, can't wait for that show.
All right.
Speaking of these different authors throwing out names, we covered S.A. Cosby, King of Ashes. That was a surprise to me. I don't know why it was a surprise. Like, you know what you're getting with Sean Cosby, and it was very much Sean Cosby.
It was a little different than his last one.
It was a little different, right? The last one was, they were both so intense, though, and they both get at issues in America, right? The social fabric of America. But this one just, I thought it was really great, especially because it was a family drama story, and there were some twists and turns and reveals towards the end that really highlighted the issues in and among this family. I thought that was a great book.
No, I know you put this category of like biggest surprise. I was thinking of that as one of them, because and probably doesn't do him, like you said, doesn't do him justice, because most of his all of his books that we've covered have been, rock solid. But I guess just the transition from, the last one, only sinners. What was it?
Yeah,
really bad with titles.
All the Sinners Bleed.
All the Sinners Bleed. That one just had like a certain edge to it, and then to jump to this, where the main character, is this lawyer another lawyer who is thrust into this family situation.
Financial planner, I think.
Lawyer, financial planner, like some fancy big shot guy in Atlanta, has to come home, and just like dealing with those dynamics and showing us like, this rural, he loves to go rural Virginia, like that area, and this whole story behind like his family owning a crematory, and I don't know, it was really good.
Yeah, I remember some of those scenes at the crematory, the family business, and it's also just, he hits on these themes of what does it mean to be a man, to his parents are dying. I think it was his father, right, who died, and it's like, what does it mean to take over and step into those shoes and fill that role? If it's not who you are, you're kind of between two worlds, caught between the big city life glam, going home to the sticks, being an outsider, but having to also take care of business. Look, stand up for your sister. I mean, that one might have been the biggest surprise. I don't know why. I should have known when you read a Sean Cosby book, it's just going to rock your world. I should have been prepared for that, but it rocked my world even harder than I thought it would. Now, other one for biggest surprise, which if it moves into my best overall book of the year, I might want to try to give something else biggest surprise. But Project Hail Mary, it caught me off guard. I'm like, I remember The Martian being great. I know there's this movie coming out. Maybe I saw a trailer or something for it. And I was like, let me read it. A buddy at work who we brought onto the pod, my friend Atif, he had been talking about it a few years back. So I was like, maybe it's time to pick it up. Read it. And I was like, Chris, read this book right now. Like right now. So I just enjoyed that adventure into sci-fi. And I think with Andy Weir, you're getting some of the best modern sci-fi there is. I don't know if the movie's going to disappoint because the book was so good, but if the movie can even come close to the book, we're in for an absolute treat.
Yeah, I'm super like worried about the movie because you know, I'm just gonna say that Project Hail Mary is my best overall book we read this year.
I think it is.
I don't know. It's the one that sticks out the most. It's the one that I was most engaged with. It had me thinking a lot. It brought me back to when I first read The Martian and had that like it captured that same experience I had. Like Andy Weir like did it again, I feel like. And I have not read his other book, Artemis. So
no, me neither.
Would be interesting to cover that one on the pod together with you. But yeah, I'm very worried about the movie, just because I don't know. I've seen the trailer. I think it's cool how they've like captured Rocky and what we've seen so far, and
yeah,
I think Ryan Gosling, can be. He has a kind of smarmy, like smart, funny, kind of cocky attitude that a Ryland Grace could have. But yeah, I don't know. It's just because most of this book is like in this guy's head, right?
Yeah. And they even said they're going to open up with him waking up from the coma, being on the ship. And there's clearly flashbacks to Strat and the team home and how he gets brought into it. So they'll have to interweave him as a teacher, and he gets pulled into this mission. And large parts of it, though, he must be talking to himself. I think in the trailer, they also had him doing like a video recording. He's like video blogging.
Exactly.
So maybe that's why you can get away with some dialogue and him talking. But I don't know why my favorite thing about the book is the first contact. When he sees the ship, when they throw the football, the canister back and forth.
And they show that in the trailer. I'm like,
they give it away. Oh, and then when Rocky makes the wall and he's tapping and you see Rocky's fingers.
Yeah.
Like that meant so much to me in the book. And it being given away in a trailer was just like disappointing because I wanted that moment like in the theaters. But the other thing is it just doesn't exactly look how I was picturing it.
Right.
And I guess that's the eternal problem with like adapting books for TV and film, is that books allow you an imagination, and it's kind of magical in a sense when every reader has their own imagination, their own version of it, and it's special to them, but it's also a shared thing. So you're sharing that story, but everyone has the freedom to imagine and illustrate that in their mind in their own way. Yet you can socialize and talk with others about the story, yet you get to hold on to this special moment of how you picture it, and that's unique from how anyone else pictures it. Right. It's a very unique thing. Film and movies almost take that away, almost degrade that and force a common universal experience on everyone. And it could be good if it's great, like Harry Potter, right? Like Hogwarts, I think you get it. Like everything in the books is pictured that way, and almost everybody who read it pictured it that way. Going to the village, going to the shops, the platform, 9 3/4, like everything hit. I'm a little nervous. Most movies can't pull that off. And what I've seen in the trailer, it's like, oh, that looks a little suspect from what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when a book adaptation does, hit, like maybe it doesn't exactly mimic what you have in your imagination, but it does enough to satisfy you, or like like, oh wow, like I thought of that, but that's even more like
it's better.
Right. It's even better. That's when it excels, right?
Exactly.
And I'm just worried. I don't know. We should cover it on the pod. I think we should watch the movie and cover it on the pod.
Yeah. Now, we talked a lot of great books, and you brought up the Scot Harvath stuff, so I didn't initially factor it in. We can't forget Backlash. We read Backlash this year.
I know. And Spymaster.
And Spymaster, but I stand by Backlash is one of the greatest all-time thrillers ever written. So,
it's
like modern thrillers, maybe not like classic literature in the history books, but in the modern thriller genre that Vince Flynn started, Brad Thor and others, operate in, I think that's a textbook. Perfect example.
Backlash stands out to me in the Scot Harvath series like Memorial Day stands out to me in
Completely.
The Vince Flynn series.
Completely.
It is such a memorable, nonstop, propulsive story. Literally from the beginning, he's on the plane and it's going down. And, from there all the way to the, getting back in this revenge story, like he's having to deal with like what happened at the end of the last book. And like, imagine like you're waiting an entire year off that cliffhanger, and then you get that book and it freaking rocks. Dude.
Especially after what happened in Spymaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, okay, this is tough now. Does it knock off Project Hail Mary? They're such different books, such different reading experiences. Maybe it comes down to which one we like enjoyed living in the moment of it more. But damn, even that would be tied neck and neck.
That's interesting. Let me go back. I want to see, where did we rank?
Yeah, what are our scores? I don't know if it's valid to do this, but I feel like our scores for Backlash and Project Hail Mary might just be 48 or 49.
You put Backlash as number one.
Number one in the series, did I? Wow. What did I have Lions as number two? I have Lions.
I had Lions as one. Lions. You had I think those are the clear two best books in the series.
Agreed. Completely.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Then the next, you can fill out your top five with like a whole host of other ones that are very good.
You got to have those two, though.
Those two have to be in there. We both put The Apostle at number 3. Sure. I think that's, very good
3
book.
through 5, yeah.
I put Deadfall at 4. You put State of the Union. I put Takedown. That one's very... I'm not the New Yorker of the two of us. For some reason, that one really resonates with me. You put Foreign Influence. So,
I think I like that Italian guy, Argento, and Foreign Influence. Yeah.
Would Edge of Honor crack?
Ooh. Do you remember if we said when we did Edge of Honor, did we say where we think we'd go back and slot it in on rankings?
I don't know. I would need to go back and listen to that episode. But yeah, because we covered it before Edge of Honor, because in your limerick it said Edge of Honor this summer. So it won't be a bummer.
It was not a bummer. I think it could possibly knock off Foreign Influence or State of the Union. Although, State of the Union, man. What's his name? Helmut Draeger. The villain, Helmut Draeger. And that was the Russian woman. Was it Alexandra?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of memorable stuff in there. So, I think Edge of Honor is flirting with top 5 in the series. If in our episode, we probably went into a much more detailed discussion of it, but I think it could. Again, it's just more of a fun read. So if you compare it to like a Vince Flynn story, I'm trying to think of which Vince Flynn ones were like more fun and jolly, but maybe don't stand up as like the best he's ever written. Maybe like in Extreme Measures, you enjoy the book. It's doing something a little different outside the norm. Like this one is a very heavy Solvay book, a little less Scott book. So it's almost like that one's a little more Mike Nash book, a little less Mitch Rapp book. It's just fun, but I don't think people are putting Extreme Measures in their top 5. Most people, not even top 10. But when you read it, it's like, oh, damn, especially the ending scene. So, yeah, would want to revisit Edge of Honor, but one of the more enjoyable books of the year, but maybe not the best overall, where Backlash could be.
Oh, here I have our Edge of Honor episode, your notes with Brad. You put hot take, this is the most enjoyable Brad Thor book.
Stand by it.
Hot take number 2, this is the most Flynnian Brad Thor book.
He did not agree with that.
Yeah. Hot Take 3, you once owned a dark blue 2010 Malibu, and it was your favorite car that you ever owned.
Yeah, you remember that? Oh man, when Scott's driving that clanker around, that was funny. Didn't Nicholas set him up with it or something? Yeah.
Oh, and then you said Hot Take number 4, this is easily in my top 5 books of the series.
I said it. Okay. I think so.
Yeah.
4 or 5 slot for sure. I want you to revisit it. I feel like I remember it a little better than you do.
I do, but I mean, I need to go back and listen to our pod on it because obviously I gave it a 48.5. So
yeah, so you must have loved it at the time too. Yeah. You're right. That's the one to most revisit. Yeah. Now, there's a couple of books thrown in here which are like, I remember they were good. They were fun reading experiences. They kind of wallow in that middle area. Like, for example, Sons of Valor 4, huge Sons of Valor fans. We love the series. I just think 1 through 3 had a great arc. It was a trilogy. You know, it was that Qasim Nadar, the drone guy trilogy. This one kind of felt like, okay, I got to adjust now with the NASCAR race and Saw, right? And what's going on with him and his family. It was just an adjustment, and I don't know if I got into it. I think if Sons of Valor 5 continues that and almost feels like, oh, we're well into the second trilogy of this bunch, then that could work. Same thing with Dark Rising, the most recent Dark book. So while we're on Andrews and Wilson again, it was like we were doing the stuff with, was it Haiti and the voodoo and the priestess who captured the kids?
Yeah, you know, with Dark Fall, there was a clear culmination of that trilogy, right? And so
Victor, it was the Victor arc, yeah.
And having to follow that up, I guess that's tough for them. They had 2 of their books. They decided to do a somewhat of a 3-story arc, and now they're restarting it. So yeah, I reserve like waiting to like fully judge those books until we get the next one to see how it goes. But you know, for me, like Dark Intercept and Dark Angel are incredible. Are incredible. Yeah. And I will say Dark Fall is still very good too.
Also very good.
I think it had its, it had its flaws, but it, to me, was still a nice ending to the story.
Yeah, I'll agree with you completely. Another one that's like that, you're kind of going outside what you've established, The Seventh Floor, David McCloskey. You know, you kind of had Sam Joseph. You already knew him, but he starts kind of in a cell. He starts in, he's captured, right? Like you have, what's her name? Artemis Proctor. Not even working in intelligence anymore. She's on the outs. So it was also a book that opened up with like, whoa, what are we doing here? Like, this is different. Not what I'm used to with these guys. I want them in the CIA. I want them running the show. I want them figuring out the op. I want them planning things. But instead, they kind of had to hodgepodge together this safe house in Crystal City where they, went off the deep end, kind of doing their own spy stuff. And really great tale in the end. And that's, dude, that scene in France, I don't even remember what they were doing, but I remember they were in the south of France and they were like in a van or something. And then the van drove off and ditched them in a field. Meanwhile, the house is getting hit. I think there was like a hostage or an interrogation in this country house in the south of France. I loved all that. Like there was some scene there that I remember being, and you find out who the mole is. I think that's it. They're listening to a wire, and on the wire, they hear the mole is one of their friends. That was a fun spy story, but
it was a big drop at the end. You find out it's like, her very, 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 like probably her best friend in the group, right?
Yep. And confidant.
Yeah.
Again, very good book. Is it David McCloskey's best novel? Not sure.
No, it's really hard to top Damascus Station. And we still have yet to cover. I think you covered Moscow X with an interview with him, but we haven't talked Moscow X on the pod together.
That's true.
And so I would like to do that at some point. We should put it on the list. But Seventh Floor, very good. Like it was enjoyable read.
What else on the list is something you maybe want to cover or comment on before we give the most important discussion and superlative best cover. So before we get there, any other books that you wanted to comment on?
I think, denied access, and we gave it its praise. I think like it was a very solid culmination of that trilogy. Again, had its flaws, but something that we enjoyed. Cry Havoc, another good installment like this. We have yet to talk with Tyler Brewer, as we mentioned at the top, but you know, a lot of things I really liked about that book this year.
That book might just have, and when we talk to Tyler, I want his take on it. It might just have my favorite action sequence of the year. The escape on the Ho Chi Minh Trail after he finds his friend Quinn in the capture of Dvornikov and the Russians. And he can't take the shot, right? And then he has to escape from this camp and float down the river and go over the waterfall and get to the border.
Intense.
Everything from when he's first dangling on the helicopter early in the book to when he cuts himself free, finds himself on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, has to knock off this bicyclist guy. Honestly, might be one of my favorite, most memorable sequences I've read.
Oh, 100%. What else? We talked
Secret of Secrets, that got me thinking. We love the topic. Did we love the execution and the plotting? Maybe not. Villains. I think a few of these books from Cry Havoc, Secret of Secrets, some of the villains, if you had an amazing villain that drove the plot a little more directly, maybe they could have risen to the greats. But if you don't nail the villain, a lot of else kind of falls apart, unravels.
Plum Island. I know you mentioned it briefly, but that was a good story.
Would
love to revisit some more Nelson DeMille.
Went a little long. Did it go a little long in the treasure hunting stuff?
Yeah.
A little one too many treasure clues.
A little bit, but
it was like a mystery. It also had that mystery element.
The Secret of Siege is interesting. And I know we didn't cover Origin. We kind of like talked about doing it, but ultimately we just jumped to Secrets. I think Secrets is better than Origin.
You do? Wow. Okay.
I don't know what do you remember of Origin? Like what?
And is Origin outdated as well? Because I remember
it's all about the AI.
Some computer AI stuff comes up, and
yeah.
And if that book was written 8-9 years ago, I just wonder how it would fare in a pre-ChatGPT world. Like OpenAI was probably very young and not a consumer product yet.
I mean, it's almost like trying to predict what we are in now,
Right. So I don't know if that helps the book age or not. So I don't remember enough.
It'd be interesting to revisit that then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Dark Wolf.
Oh, dude. That's a big winner of the year.
I know we're not like a TV podcast, but we had to cover it because it dropped. I mean, I have to say, like, coming off of our reservations of how the Terminalist, I would say, I think it started well, and then it didn't finish quite like how we wanted to. The Dark Wolf series like came back with a vengeance.
Agreed.
And, like, was just amazing. Like, I'm kind of sad, or I don't know, but like the fact that this is the only season we might get of this show, like it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, maybe it is, but it also so many opportunities to tie into True Believer and maybe do other spinoffs and go, play in the sandbox a little more. Just from that episode 1, a huge military op on the bridge in Iraq, going to Mosul. It was everything you wanted it to be right from the jump. Having Duran, was that his name? The local, Iraqi and his family involved. We're doing like guerrilla warfare in the cities. Like it was just, wow. It was not what I was expecting. And it was like watching a war movie, a classic war movie. And it was a TV show that was teeing up some James Reese stuff, which is just wild. Expertly done. Great decisions. What a team. So get me True Believer. Where a Terminalist TV show did not quite give me that level of buy-in. Dark Wolf absolutely gives me the buy-in to the entire universe.
Yeah, I think it also helps that Dark Wolf didn't have a text to have to follow. I think that was like one of our biggest concerns.
It was liberating.
Or our biggest gripes, I guess, with the in the first season in the fact that how much they did kind of stray from the source text, and so not being encumbered by that definitely helped the Dark World series
completely.
Just being like
Yeah.
of an essence and like trying to capture that essence, but not have to like follow a strict guideline because he's just making up the story as he goes. So,
but still being Jack Carr, but still being a Jack Carr story
for sure.
Completely.
Yeah. Excited for True Believer.
Absolutely. And Mo stole the show. I just remember.
Oh yeah.
I thought Mo was dominant.
Now he's going to be, he'll potentially be back.
Get more Mo. Yeah, I hope so. Well, it wouldn't be Thriller Pod if we don't judge a cover by the book. So let's go to thrillerpod.com. We've got a feed of all of our episode thumbnails. You can just click load more on the main splash page at Thriller Pod. So when you load more, you'll see all the thumbnails. Anything stand out as you're browsing through some of these?
Hold on, let me go to thrillerpod.com.
Yep. Check out our new website, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet. Cry Havoc cover's dope.
So what do I do? Go to scorecard?
You can see the scores there pretty easily, but if you go on the homepage and just scroll down, you'll see all the episode thumbnails. You'll have to keep hitting load more, but...
Oh, gotcha. All right. Denied access. Hail Mary. Secret of Secrets.
Edge of Honor again with the flag. It's very classic.
Oh, I haven't been on this website in a while. It's a nice website here, Michael.
Yeah. Rolled this out a couple months ago.
Deception Point. Alexandria Link. Okay. Sons of Valor, not my favorite. Ooh, King of Ashes. That's a
King of Ashes is nice. Ooh, Alexandria Link. It's a nice classic one.
Fade In. Recoil of Justice.
Ooh. Dude, I love the Recoil of Justice cover.
It is a nice cover.
I even, we have a face problem on the pod or a silhouette problem. But to be honest, this is the way to do it right. The helicopter.
Capture everything around it, like with the helicopter and the city. Like, yeah.
Yep. Because he is a lawyer, working in the firm, and a lot of it's in the office place. But then you can jump to the ranches with the helicopter and some things that they were doing out of the helicopter. Oh, do I see a wild hog in the background there? Like a wild boar. Is Brad Elder's Recoil of Justice my favorite cover of 2025? It's entirely possible.
All right, Bat the Assassin, Lines of Lucerne, The 12th Man, Black Ice.
Black Ice was nice.
Near Dark is another good cover. I like the 7th Floor cover. But
sure. Yeah.
Backlash.
Backlash is okay.
Spy Master.
Plum Island with the skull and crossbones. That's a nice touch.
Oh, we got Kill Shot this year. American Assassin.
Well, we did a rewind of those. Can we include them? Because it was just revisited. Maybe we could. All right, Alexandria Link is up there. So I think I'm ready to settle on my top 3. Alexandria Link. Cry Havoc. And I'm going to say it. Recoil of Justice by Brad Elder. Those are my 3 covers. I'm standing by it.
All right. Let me see. Let me go through these one more time.
Don't forget Cry Havoc, man. The Southeast Asia stuff.
All right. Lions is a revisited, right? So that doesn't count.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could if you want, but yeah, it was revisited.
I do like the Dark Intercept.
Sure.
All right. Edge of Honor.
Edge of Honor's good. Yep.
I love Edge of Honor. The King of Ashes is really good.
It is. Yep.
Who am I going to do? You're right. I think it's got to be Recoil of Justice.
Wow.
In the top 3. That's a really good cover, man. And he Brad talked about it. He had, wanted to have a good cover. So,
and we have to judge the cover by the book. I mean, you got the helicopter, you got the office buildings, the downtown cityscape. It's split diagonally in 2, which makes perfect sense for how Ryan Wolf is, torn between 2 worlds, his old job and this new thriller action save the day he's been brought into. It's just so believable, and it captures that. I don't need it to be artsy, like I feel like the Secret of Secrets a little going too much for that artsy side of things, and a couple others as well. Like this one's just straightforward about the story.
I think if I had to choose of those 3, I think King of Ashes is my favorite cover of this year.
Also captures the metaphorical, kind of space that the main character is in.
And the crematory. Train,
yep.
The train tracks, the crematory, the fire, the ash. Yeah.
All of it. Yeah. Everything burns.
Everything burns.
Everything burns. Well, the people are burning for a limerick to close out the year. They are. So
let's give it to them.
Many authors this year we esteemed, but which thriller will reign supreme? S.A. Cosby or Carr, Steve Berry or Thor, these guys are the cream of the cream.
Oh, I like how you Carr and Thor right there. I like that.
Yeah, and then I was going for creme de la creme, but
creme de la creme.
So I went cream of the cream.
Creme de the supreme de la cream. There we go. All right. Very good, Mike. Well, I just want to say thank you to you. This was another fun year. This is year 5 of the pod. Holy
year
fuck.
5. Dude, we are up to 310 episodes. 310. Can you believe that?
Seems like we should have a lot more, but it that's a lot too,
Dude, it's a lot. It doesn't seem like it should be more when you account for all the editing that this guy has to do. So.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
But I don't think we would have made it this. Actually, I know for sure we would not have made it this far without our patrons. It's all thanks to you. You know who you are. Dawn and Sherry, some of the OGs, Chris and Mark, who joined us and are always sticking around. Daryl, the Godfather, Brad Thor, or Brad Elder, all these Brads. Brad Elder, the Elder Statesman. I mean, we just got so many great personalities over there. So I know for a fact when we finish the Mitch Rapp series, we definitely would not have been keeping the pod alive. When we finished the Scot Harvath series, we would not have wanted to start a third one. We wouldn't be doing 2, 3, sometimes 4 books and episodes a month if it wasn't for you guys. So more to come in 2026. We will promise you 2 books and 2 episodes a month. That will be our baseline minimum. And then on top of that, whatever comes up, whatever books we're wanting to dig into, we'll add. But minimum 2 books a month. One will be a new release. I mean, look at all the authors you got coming out. There's going to be another Mitch Rapp, we know, around September.
That's 24 books next month.
Dude, as a minimum. There's multiple Jack Carr books. He's doing something with MP Woodward. They're going to have a collab coming out. Ward Larson and Brad Thor. Cold Zero. There it is. Cold Zero.
I got this one.
Andrews and Wilson are doing a ton of short stories. Yeah. I just think there's so much to come. So we're going to keep the pod rolling, and completely it's thanks to you guys in the Patreon book club. thrillerpod.com. Join the book club. We'd love to have you over there. So what a year it's been. Thank you, Chris.
You said 310 episodes total? All right, divide that by 5. That's 62 episodes a year. That's more than an episode a week. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I guess we're not quite at 5 years, because 5 years will be April-ish, April, May. So, all right, roughly an episode a week.
Yeah.
Dude,
keep it rolling.
Great. Let's keep it rolling.
Good stuff.
As Mike said, got to thank our patrons. Shout out to Deputy Director Sherry F., Brad E., Special Agents Adam, Mike, Ben, Daryl, George, Matt, Dawn, and Chris. Love you guys. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a great holiday. And just let Mike and Chris be Mike and Chris.
Let Thriller Pod be Thriller Pod.
There you go.